My name is Jerice Barrios, and I'm the Archivist for the Cenacle Sisters of the North American Province. I'm going to be talking to you about the history of the Cenacle Sisters Prayer Enrollment Card Ministry using materials that come from the archives. The Cenacle Sisters Prayer Enrollment Ministry began as the Crusade of Prayer and was founded by Mother Mary Shannon at the Boston Cenacle in 1928. Mother Shannon was inspired by a ministry called The Lamp that was started by Mother Helen Lynch at the St. Regis Cenacle in New York City. Mother Lynch's idea with The Lamp was to make the Cenacle Sisters apostolate of prayer better known to retreatants and to involve them in it. The lamp was the sanctuary lamp in the chapel, burning in a low bowl that retreatants could put names and prayer intentions into. The retreatants could give a small offering at the same time. Everyone who placed a name and intentions into the lamp received a small card that had the lamp symbol on it. At the time when Mother Mary Shannon was inspired to create the Crusade of Prayer, the Boston Cenacle was in the midst of fundraising to pay off debt that the house had taken on in order to build a chapel and a new wing. Mother Shannon's idea was to create attractive cards for those in need of prayer for various intentions. Called the Crusade, this card ministry gave the retreatants a share in the masses, prayers, and spiritual work of the Cenacle Sisters for a definite period of time according to the offering. The intentions could include prayers for the living, or the deceased, or recovery from illness, or for special occasions like weddings, anniversaries, or birthdays. Sometimes known as spiritual bouquets or bouquets of masses, Mother Shannon's prayer crusade was based on the doctrine of the mystical body of Christ and the communion of saints. Mother Shannon consulted theologians, canonists, and diocesan officials to ensure that her plan was sound. Among those she consulted was Monsignor Joseph Walsh, rector of St. John's Theological Seminary, doctor of canon law, and the chaplain of the Boston Cenacle. He approved every detail of the prayer crusade concept. With canonical sanction and ecclesiastical permission, the Crusade of Prayer was launched on January 23, 1928. The ministry had an auspicious beginning and steady growth. To keep up with the demand, Mother Mary Ellen Brady became Mother Shannon's assistant, and a lay woman was hired to do some of the clerical work. Later on, the junior professed of the congregation, that is, those sisters who had taken first vows and were still in formation, took turns in the crusade office. At the time of the founding of the Crusade of Prayer in Boston in 1928, there were 4 other cenacles in the United States. St. Regis in New York City, which was the founding house in the U.S., the Cenacle in Newport, Rhode Island, the Cenacle in Chicago, and the Cenacle in Ronkonkoma on Long Island. The Chicago community was the first to follow Mother Shannon's lead. They opened a crusade office in 1931. They designed their own cards and used a house printing press. Ronkonkoma was next in 1933. They set up their crusade office in a room in the basement. The St. Regis community in New York City and the Newport community began to send out cards in 1934. The St. Louis Cenacle was founded in 1931, and within a few years, they too had opened a crusade office. In 1939, a Cenacle in Warrenville, Illinois was founded. Their crusade office was set up along the lines of the Chicago house, using their designs and printing press. Eventually, all the Cenacle foundations in North America included the Crusade of Prayer Ministry as a matter of course. The Crusade of Prayer was accepted in other countries, and Cenacle sisters in Canada, Peru, Brazil, England, Ireland, New Zealand, and the Philippines used it to promote devotion and provide income. The sisters in charge of the crusade at each house would meet regularly to share tips and best practices and to take advantage of cost savings by making large group orders for printed cards. Here we see a list of over 20 Cenacle Crusade directors from all over the country gathered for a 1975 meeting in Chicago. The sisters eventually developed crusade policies and a crusade handbook. The sisters were careful to ensure that the Crusade of Prayer Ministry remained aligned with their mission and with the theology of the times. In 1971, the sisters created a Crusade Theology Committee to study the theological foundations of the Crusade, and a report was issued in 1972. The sisters then set up a Crusade Renewal Committee to restructure the Crusade of Prayer so that it could be a strong liturgical and biblical educational force. All of the sisters of the Cenacle had the responsibility of praying, especially for the people enrolled in the crusade, and offered their apostolic ministry for the intentions of crusade donors. Each crusade office was generally staffed by at least one sister. In addition to the sisters, some houses employed lay help. The sisters and the employees hand-lettered the name of the person enrolled and the donor, sometimes with a brief message. During the Christmas season, red and green ink was sometimes used, and for 25th anniversary enrollments, silver ink was often used. The sisters would send out acknowledgments of the offerings received and would often include a flyer about upcoming retreat programs and 1 or 2 order forms to encourage future orders. They also maintained a display of the crusade cards near the entrance of the house or near the entrance of the crusade office to remind those who passed to enroll their loved ones. The crusade cards were designed by Cenacle sisters as well as lay people. The cards were then printed by various companies that were paid using part of the proceeds. Here is a small sample of the sisters who provided art for the ministry over the years. First, we have Sister Ida Barlow, Sister Josephine De Simone, Sister Margaret Gagel, Sister Thelma Hall, Sister Barbara Whittemore, Sister Jean Murdoch, Sister Grace Doyle, and Sister Constance Quinn. Many lay people also contributed art and design to the prayer cards. Here we see the work of Joan Fisher, who helped define the sisters' card aesthetic during the 1970s. Much of the prayer card art that we hold in the archives is unattributed, since the sisters tended not to sign their work. They created art as religious of the Cenacle for the glory of God, and did not take personal credit. As time passed, the card ministry started to incorporate new art forms, such as photography and even computer graphics. In 1995, the time limitation was removed from the ministry. All enrollments became permanent enrollments. Also in 1995, the name of the ministry was changed from Crusade of Prayer to Prayer Enrollment. The sisters wrote, "Crusade of Prayer has served us well, but we feel that the word crusade is misunderstood in today's culture, so we are changing our name to Cenacle Prayer Enrollment." The December 1997 issue of the Prayer Enrollment News and Views newsletter, published by the Ronkonkoma Cenacle, talked about the importance of the prayer card ministry. Quite often, people calling to enroll a loved one have shared with us the difficult moments of their daily life. Many times they are elderly or there is serious sickness in the family. Sister Irene Dempsey, as our Prayer Enrollment Ministry Coordinator, has been a wonderful asset to our office in responding to these callers. Sometimes Sister writes them an encouraging note. At other times, she sends them a special enrollment card for themselves. Often, she posts their concerns on the community bulletin board, asking the sisters for special prayers. This is an important contribution, not only for our donors, but it helps us who work in the Prayer Enrollment office provide a needed service for the people we deal with on a daily basis. Here's an excerpt from a Warrenville Cenacle brochure from 2000. What is perpetual? All of the enrollments represent perpetual prayers. The sisters pray for all those enrolled. As long as the religious of the Cenacle survive, the prayers entrusted to the sisters will continue. Their shared prayer, the spirit of the first Cenacle, reaches out to people everywhere. The sisters invite petitions to lift them up to our Heavenly Lord. By the year 2000, Chicago Fullerton Prayer Enrollment Office was sending out 30,000 cards per year. In the December 8, 2000 issue of the Chicago Reader, one of the Cenacle Prayer Enrollment calligraphers was interviewed. Ellie Sasana, a laywoman and self-taught calligrapher, said that it wasn't just the prayers behind the cards that make them so special. It's the personal touch. She said, if it's a memorial card for somebody, I think of the person when I make the card for them. For children, I always include extra flowers. As the years passed, the Cenacle sisters' presence in North America changed, and Cenacle retreat houses began to close due to a number of factors, including a lack of personnel. By 2013, there were only a few prayer enrollment offices left: Chicago, Ronkonkoma, New York, Houston, Montana, Florida, and Vancouver. The shortage of sister personnel and other resources was exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, creating a situation where the Cenacle Sisters of North America had to pause their prayer card ministry in 2021. The pause in the prayer card ministry did not prove to be permanent. On December 1st, 2022, the launch of the reimagined and resurrected prayer card ministry was announced. The reimagined prayer card ministry had been developed by the Cenacle Sisters Office for Ministry and Mission Advancement in cooperation with Devco Foil Printing, a printer who had manufactured cards for the sisters for 30 years, and Deluxe Corporation, an online card provider. Staff members and partners in mission worked hard to recreate Cenacle prayer cards in a sustainable, feasible way, given the limitations of the Cenacle Sisters' current reality. The staff, along with the sisters, maintain creative control over the card ministry and receive the prayers and enrollees. The ordering and fulfillment of the prayer cards is handled off-site. As the Cenacle Sisters' prayer card ministry moves into the future, it continues to be a way for people to participate in and assist with the Cenacle mission of awakening and deepening faith. Sister Pamela Falkowski, the provincial leader of the Cenacle Sisters of the North American province, wrote in a letter from August 2022, "We are asking for your prayers for the success of this sacred endeavor and for guidance for Deluxe, Devco, our faithful prayer card ministry team, and for us, your sisters, as we continue to listen to God's persistence in our life and to respond with steadfast faith, ignited hope, and generous hearts."